Hey everyone, it's Kristen, and I am an online reseller. I sell on places like Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, and eBay. And today I'm going to be starting a new selling app, or at least I think it's going to be today. And the selling app I'm going to be talking about today is Whatnot. If you guys are not familiar with Whatnot, it is an app where you do kind of live stream auctions on your stuff. And I have never used this as a seller yet. I just got approved about a week ago. You have to sign up and join a wait list, and then they'll approve or not approve your account. And luckily they have approved mine. I think right now they're looking for serious sellers, people who already have a presence elsewhere. I had to tell them other places where I was selling my stuff. I had to show them that I had some sort of presence on there and that I was actually really selling stuff. It took a long time for me to hear from them. I actually kind of started to think that they had not approved my account and that I just wouldn't hear from them. But luckily, I have heard from them. And about a week ago, they approved me. And then today, I am going through a walkthrough thing with them. I'm not sure what the walkthrough will really entail. I'm not sure if they're gonna show me how to use the app from a seller's point of view, because right now, even though I've been approved, I still can't kind of see like the interface as I would as a seller. They may have to sort of allow me to do that. Right now I can only see things through the app as if I was a buyer. It is a little worrisome for me to be starting this new app for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not very social, as in talking to people, like live streaming. I know I'm doing this here and talking to you right now, but it's a little different when I'm just talking to a phone, and then I can edit and view my video and see if I like it and then post it, rather than the other way, which I'd be talking to somebody live right now and they'd be watching me and asking me questions maybe, and I don't know. I'm a little scared of that. It seems kind of hectic because you have to put in your items ahead of time. So let's say I had all these items here. I would write like a little listing for them, say the name and then the size, I think, and then maybe any other details you want. And then like as you're going through, you would post the one that's being shown like right now, and then you could start the bid at whatever you like, I believe, and then people will bid on it. And you'll put a timer. I think you can set the timer for various times. I think the standard one is a minute. And every time somebody bids on it, it gets added 15 seconds, I believe. So you can keep the bidding going. That's just what I believe. Like, again, I have watched a lot of people's streams. I've been trying to, gain some insight into how things work. And that's what I have come up with. A little worried for like the back end of things that you don't really get to see. I'm worried about like, does it keep good track of like who buys the item, or will I have to also keep track of it? If none of your item, like if your item doesn't get any bids on it, I should say, then you don't sell that item, you get to keep it. But if somebody bids even the lowest bid, like let's say you started out at $1 and one person bids on that, then you have to sell the item for $1. Which comes to my next worry. What if a lot of my stuff sells for $1? Like the lowest I ever pay for something that I'm reselling is probably $1, but I do pay more for some items. So like, what if I paid $5 for that item and I didn't want to start it at $1? And again, I believe you can start your bid at whatever you want, but from what I'm seeing on the app currently is most people do start their auctions at $1 or $3. That seems to be like the standard that people started out at. I have seen a few that have been higher, but I wonder how well that works. When I signed up for the app, I believe I said I was going to be selling vintage fashion and other fashion, but I think they have more of a want and need for vintage fashion, which I do have quite a bit of, but I would say the majority of my fashion is more modern, so I would be doing both. But for some of my vintage items, they're very nice, and I have them posted on places for a lot of money. I mean, not like an exorbitant amount, but a lot. And so those particular items, like, I would not be okay with losing for $1. So it's kind of like, where do you begin bids at? So that's become a concern of mine, letting things go for less money than I want them to go for. So I think I would start out with items that I'm not afraid to lose, just to get my feet wet, just to see how it goes. I have heard from other people who have gone through the onboarding process. I've heard this one time, I don't know how true it is, but they said that when they had this onboarding meeting, that the people laid out some sort of expectations for you to sell on Whatnot. And they were saying that some of their highest sellers on Whatnot make upwards of $10,000 per live stream. Now, I've watched a lot of people on Whatnot, and I've seen a lot of people make good money. Like, all of their items are selling, and they're all selling for like upwards of $3 to like $20 per item, and they sell like maybe 30 items, which would be a good sale. Like, that would be, to spend an hour or two and to make that kind of money, I think would be good. That's what I hope for. That being said, even the good live streams that I've seen are not making $10,000 per live stream. If there are people who are doing that, I haven't seen them. And if there are people that are doing that, then good for them. But I can't see myself making that much money in that amount of time unless I was selling high-end items. Like, maybe the people who come on to Whatnot and sell designer items, yeah, I could see them making $10,000. For like people that I've been seeing, like vintage fashion, and I've seen like people who sell like Pokemon cards and like action figures and things like that, like the normal thing you would see on Whatnot, I don't see them making $10,000 a live stream. Not even like a month, a live stream. So I don't know how accurate that information is. That's the only time I've ever heard that is once. But I'm about to do my onboarding meeting, and if they do say that, then I don't know if I'm going to meet their expectations. Now, I would think I would make a couple $100 per live stream, and to me, that would be good money. Making a couple $100 a day, doing that for only spending an hour or two, would be ideal in my opinion. But to be making $10,000, like, that's a lot of money. Like, if you can, good, because I want to, but like, that just seems outrageous to me. So I'm kind of skeptical if that person is telling the truth about what they said. Report back after the meeting and tell you what was discussed, as long as they don't make me sign something that says like I won't, like a non-disclosure. Ideally for me, I would like to do a couple of Whatnots, the live streams, a week. Maybe I would get onto some sort of schedule so that people that do follow me will know, hey, every Friday I go on at 5 o'clock or whatever. And I'm gonna try, especially when I'm first starting out, different times of day, different days, see what the market is like. I'm gonna be doing a lot of experiments like that. I was thinking what I would do is like a themed live streams. I think other people do this. I'm not saying I came up with this idea by myself, but like I was thinking like, oh, today's live stream will be all shoes. Today's live stream will be all lace items. Like, every item that I'm selling has some sort of lace on it. Stuff like that, I think I could definitely do like a themed live stream, and I think that would be good for people who are looking for a specific type of look. Concern I have is like the shipping, and the questions I have about that is like, okay, let's say somebody buys just one thing. Okay, that's fine. But let's say somebody buys 5 things. Do I have to separately send all 5 items? Or will the app know that and automatically give me a label that's the right size and weight for all of those items to fit in one package? That's how I hope it works, that's how I think it should work, and then all would be good with that. I also do hope that it is clear in the app when I'm shipping that it clearly says like, this person bought the red lace dress, this is their shipping label. Very easy, kind of like Poshmark, kind of like eBay, you know, very easy to see what the person bought, how many items they bought, and quickly and easily print out the label, put it on, and send it on its way. Right now, with the whole like having to apply and having to go to this little meeting and having these expectations put on people, if that is exactly how it is, it's kind of like feeling like I'm going for like a job interview. Like right now I feel like I'm about to go talk to somebody about getting a job. Like, that's sort of what it feels like, and I hope it doesn't feel like that, because I would like it to sort of feel like the other parts of reselling where I kind of decide when things are going to get done, and I do it in a way that works for me. And I don't know a lot about sort of the inner workings. Like for instance, I don't follow anybody on Whatnot. Any of the sellers that I've watched, I haven't followed them. But I do get notifications on my phone of when certain sellers are going live. And I wondered, why do some sellers get notifications and others don't? Because there's got to be hundreds of sellers on the app at one time, probably. I don't know how many are on there. But why does that one person get notifications sent to my phone? And I know it's probably based upon people I've watched. It's probably based on things I've said I'm interested in. I don't remember if I said like, oh, I like fashion or whatever when I first started the app. But they can probably tell that by what I watch. So is it based upon that? Will my live streams ever get promoted to people through their notifications, or will they have to follow me? Will they have to sign up for a reminder on the app beforehand when they see like my live is going to be coming soon? How do people get the information that I'm going live? And I'm not sure exactly how that gets done. I don't know if the more followers you have, the more likely that they are to show you more upfront when people sign into the app. That's how I would think it would work. For somebody who has no following on there and not a very large social media presence on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or wherever, is it going to be harder for me to get in front of people than people who do? I would assume that would help them to have a larger social media presence, but I hope that it doesn't matter entirely. Like, I hope that some of the inner workings of the Whatnot app will promote my stuff to people who like that genre of clothing. See, that sort of thing, like that sort of like inner working algorithm, whatever you want to call it, I have zero knowledge about. I mean, I know you kind of gain that knowledge through doing it, but seeing as I haven't done it yet, I don't know. So, that's all to be determined. Do you have to have a larger social media presence off the app in order to get more people to watch you, or does it really matter? And that's the other thing I'm worried about. Like, what if nobody watches me? What if nobody's interested in my stuff? What if everybody's like, you have garbage, you have nothing I'm interested in? Because it is like, I have nice stuff in my opinion. I mean, I would not buy this stuff if I didn't think it was worth it enough to somebody else to sell it for more than I bought it for. I mean, obviously that's the reselling at the core. Like, I think this item is worth more than I'm paying for it, and I know somebody out there is interested in it and will buy it. But like, will people on this app want what I'm selling? And I think that my kind of clothing is different than what I've seen on Whatnot. Now, that might be a good thing. People might like my stuff because it is different than all the other stuff being sold on Whatnot. Now, what I'm seeing the most is vintage t-shirts. And I say vintage because to me, some of them may not be as vintage as some people like to say they are. Mostly I just see graphic tees, and which are fine. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with that. I mean, I'm probably going to sell some graphic tees that I have as well. It's not the largest thing that I buy, but what I have mostly is very girly lace, faux fur, sequins, you know. That's what I buy. I buy very girly, very feminine things. I buy things in like the boho hippie genre, vintage. I buy things kind of like very flowery, very floral. I'm hoping that because my stuff is different, that I might sort of, I don't want to say corner the market, but like, because there's not a lot of people selling the same side of things I have, that might be a good thing, or it might be because the market's not there. So I wonder about that as well, and only time will tell for that. I mean, I can only try and see what happens. I just hope that like my first few live streams are not a complete dud, and like I don't sell anything and nobody watches and I get like 3 views and nobody buys anything. Like, that would be horrible. I mean, I'm open to the possibility that that might happen and to just deal with it if it does, but like, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So yeah, So this has been a very long rambling video, but I've been just trying to tell you guys like my thoughts on it going into it, things I'm worried about, the things I'm seeing, the things I don't know, the things I do know. So like I'm trying to be as open about it as I can, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people are looking to see like what it's going to be like to sell, and they don't know ahead of time, and I couldn't find anyone to really tell me what it was really like and show me everything. So unless they tell me not to, I'm going to be very transparent with you. So I'm like 15 minutes away from my onboarding meeting. You have to have a webcam, and I don't know if this will be with other people, other sellers, so like a Zoom meeting where there's like one person talking and like 10 people just listening, you know, that kind of thing. Or I don't know if it'll be like a one-on-one thing. I'm kind of hoping for like more people being there and asking questions, because like I don't really like to be on the spot, but I mean, whatever happens I'll do. But it just, again, sort of feels like I'm going to like a job interview, so it's a little like I don't know what to expect. So I will let you know after the meeting is done what I find out. So hey everyone, I just got done with my onboarding meeting, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it while it was still sort of fresh in my mind. It actually made me feel a lot better about the whole thing. It answered a lot of questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what they said. They didn't say I couldn't tell anybody, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. The meeting was with a bunch of people. So it was the lady talking and presenting. She showed you her screen. She did like a little slideshow thing, and then there was other people watching, and everybody was muted until the end where you could ask your questions. You had to push like the raise your hand thing on the Google Meets to ask a question, and then she would answer the question. So that part was fine. A couple things that I found interesting. So there was not any expectations really put on you like somebody had said before. So the only thing they said that they want you to be active, which is obvious, and they didn't say like you have to show up so many times or you have to make so much money or this or that. So that was good. I'm glad that they didn't lay out expectations of what they expected of you, where you couldn't sell anymore. It didn't seem like that kind of thing. So that was good. I have some notes written down here. So a couple things they said. So one of the things that I was most excited to figure out from what she said is that there is a way that you can go on the whatnot.com on your computer and have it running on your phone, and be able to either, so like you could have it on your phone running, and that be the thing that you are recording the live stream with, and then you can have your computer be the thing where you post the next item that's up for bid. So that's good for me to know, because I was worried that I'd have to be running back and forth to my phone, because I actually wanted to be present in the video kind of like I am now, and then just be able to hold up something and be like, this is the next item up for auction, talk about it, talk about if there's any flaws, the size, what have you, and then be able to click something maybe like next to me on my computer and be like, okay, let's start that one, let it run through, and then move on to the next one. I thought that would be the most kind of visually good for everybody, to be able to see me, to see the item, and then me not having to get up, come back, or have somebody else help me. I thought maybe that might be what I had to do, have somebody behind the camera click the next item. But I personally, having someone actually in the room would make me a little bit more self-conscious than just talking to a phone and that kind of thing. So that would kind of worry me for that. And then not everybody's going to want to help me all the time when I do my live streams, right? Having two people do it is not as plausible to do it. So I'm glad that that question was answered. It made me feel a lot better about the overall look and feel of the live stream. The other question was, as of right now, I had said earlier that my app looks like it would look for a buyer, but apparently after doing this onboarding thing, I had to take a quiz, kind of answering a few questions, making sure that I understand the things that were laid out in the meeting and how to work the system. And so it's just easy questions, I mean, obvious things, things like that. And so just a few questions also, not a lot. And then so after I submitted that quiz, within 24 to 48 hours, I will be able to access everything, the seller dashboard, which you can access on the computer as well, and be able to schedule my live stream. So I'm gonna try to schedule my first live stream during the day. I'm not gonna try to fight for a more coveted spot in the evening. I know I may not be targeting as many people, like not as many people may show up to the live stream, but that's okay. That sort of thing is something I'm gonna have to worry about later. Some of the other questions I felt like were good and that you might be interested to know is that people were asking, like, a lot of sellers on eBay, and me included, have a variety of things to sell. So like I have vintage fashion, I have regular thrifted fashion, I have accessories, and then I have even things as like hard goods. Now I didn't really ask about hard goods, and not a lot of people asked about them other than like trading cards and things like that. I haven't really seen anybody sell that, but I'm not really as wanting to sell that type of thing in my live stream, so I didn't really ask about it. But she did say, like, let's say you were somebody who sold trading cards and vintage thrift, could you have them in the same live stream? And the answer was kind of yes, but kind of no. Like, for instance, if you had a Star Wars shirt and you also sold a Star Wars action figure, and maybe all your other stuff that you were selling was Star Wars related, then it would be okay to cross over into the certain categories. But if you sign up for a vintage fashion live stream and then you end up selling half of the time of that live stream you're selling action figures, then they don't want that. They want it to either be around a certain theme, and they want it to be in the category that you signed up for. Now if you had, so like they were kind of saying too, like you can sell like half the show vintage fashion, half the show regular thrifted fashion, but you may want to break it apart into like, this live stream's only going to be vintage fashion, just because the customers a lot of times, they said, would come and look for vintage fashion, and then a lot of people will be selling like Forever 21 items, and it's just like kind of false advertising and not what they are looking for. And you want to keep the customers that you do get in your live stream by telling them what they're in for. So that makes sense, and I think that's interesting and good for you guys to know. If you were interested in selling multiple categories, you can, but you should stick to the, like, you can pick what category your particular live stream is going to be in, and you should probably stick to that as best as possible. The other thing that I found was interesting is that for watches and bags, over probably like $200 worth of bags, it seems like you have to get extra clearances to sell in those categories. So they were telling us, like, if we had that type of thing, we would need to contact a different manager than the lady that we were speaking to today to get extra clearances, because those things tend to have a lot of fraud around them. Another thing that I found that was interesting was the shipping. Well, before you create your live stream, or as you're creating it, you can have the option of putting your items, kind of listing them out, and then you have to put the shipping, like how big the item is, how much it's going to weigh, and then when it sells, the shipping label will be made for you. But what I found interesting was, if someone buys more than one item, what happens then? Will you have to ship them separately, or will they be bundled together? And the answer is that they'll be bundled together. But the interesting thing about it is, for every additional item that the person buys, so they buy one $5 shirt, then they buy another $5 shirt. The things are put together and you pay the initial, let's say $4.50 to have the shipping. For every additional item that you buy, you're only paying $1 more per each additional item for shipping. So let's say they bought those 2 shirts, and then they bought a 20-pound jacket. Let's say the jacket was 20 pounds for what reason, I don't know. They would still only be paying $1 more to have that jacket shipped. You're gonna say, well, who pays that cost? Well, Whatnot does. So I thought that was interesting. I feel like they could be losing money on that, but I think they're doing that to encourage bundles and people to buy more items, because they're only paying $1 more additional per each item for the shipping. They're paying the initial shipping on the first item that they buy, and then every item after that is only $1 more extra. So that's interesting, and it's good that all of them will be bundled together, they already know that that person bought more than one item. You don't have to worry about that, and that's how that goes. Also, you can have buy it now options, and also pre-bids. So before you start your live stream, you can list out the items that you're going to sell, and then they also encourage us to be descriptive. It's both good for the buyers who are looking to buy things, and because once the item sells, that is what is going to be the description of the item. So let's say you only had like t-shirt 1, t-shirt 2, you would have to keep track of which one is t-shirt 1 and t-shirt 2. But if you put lime green t-shirt and then you have the next one's a hot pink t-shirt, then obviously you're going to be able to tell which shirt is which one. But anyway, so you can have that lime green t-shirt put up for sale even before your live auction. So let's say somebody comes and sees, oh, on Tuesday you're gonna have your live auction and you have that lime green shirt in there, but you also have it for buy it now. That person can just go ahead and buy that shirt before the auction even starts. Nobody bids on it. You set that buy it now price. So if they're willing to pay that buy it now price, they can just buy it and you don't even have to put it on the auction. Nobody gets the chance to bid on it. It's just that price and that person buys it and that's done. And I don't know if there's a limit to how many buy it nows you can have, but they did say something about the fact that you can carry over your buy it now. So if I can always have all of my items up for buy it now on there, just like I have for Poshmark, I think I'm gonna do that. Then they also said you can have like your list of buy it nows, and then once you're ready to have the live auction for that, you can just kind of transfer it over and say, yes, this particular item is going to be up for bid. Now, that person can, I don't know if during that live auction someone can still buy it for the buy it now, or if they have to wait till the auction is over, but it's nice that you can take it from that and not have to put all that information in. And also they said pre-bids. So I think if you have all those things listed out and then you're gonna have it next Tuesday and you're just gonna have it on there until next Tuesday, then somebody can pre-bid, and let's say you started the bid at $3, but this person's willing to put a pre-bid in for $6, then the auction will start at that $6 with that person winning first, and then the auction will go on from there. So that's interesting. All good stuff. I think both of those things are great. The pre-bids and the buy it now option I'm really excited about. I didn't know that they had those. A couple of like statistical things that she was saying for people who are just starting. Apparently the clothing category is new to Whatnot. It started out being somewhere where people sold Funko Pops and the trading cards, and they've only had clothing for about 5 months as me making this video. So it's a pretty new category, and I'm excited to get in on it while it's still relatively new and maybe make a name for myself, start getting popular, and hopefully being able to continue with that. So I'm excited to start when the things are new. She was saying that it's a rapidly growing category. People are getting more into it, and right now the biggest part of it, the most people buying on there are for graphic tees, and I told you that's what I normally see. She said that it's best to try to sell anywhere to 40 to 50 items per live stream. That to me is a lot. I don't know about that. She said also that from her experience, from what she sees, to sell that type of quantity, 40 to 50 items, that you should sell 30-second auctions. Now, it extends 15 seconds every time somebody bids, so really it could last for a few minutes. But she said that it seems to do better when people are quick and just really getting in there and selling a lot of stuff. And then she said that you can really start your listing price at whatever you want. Now, typically I see people starting from $1 to $3, but she says that people with nicer items should start their items at higher prices if you're not willing to lose it. You know, if you have a nice vintage dress that you're not willing to take less than $10 for, then don't list it for less than $10. Maybe less people will bid on it, but the bids you'll be getting will probably be better. like people who really are truly interested in that item and know it's worth, you know. So she didn't say anything about like people wanting to buy less if you had a higher first bid price or bidding, like I don't know what you call that. It's not like a reserve, but like that's just where the bidding starts. The least popular selling times were from Monday to Wednesday, so that's when the least amount of people are selling. And she also said from 12 to 3 a.m. But she said there are always buyers on. So she suggested that we try to start selling, especially as new people, Monday through Wednesday from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to try to do it during the day at first, then I'll try some night ones when more people are on. I just kind of want to get my feet wet during the day. But I would probably try at least a couple times at this time, just because I think it might be good to, especially when you're first getting started, to do it different times of the day, different days, just to get out there and get your name out there. A couple other things. She said that you are allowed to use music as of right now. They haven't made any rules where you can't use copyrighted music. I know on places like Twitch and YouTube, you're not. I think eventually they're not going to be able to on this either, but do it while you can, while Whatnot allows you to. She also said that you're free to speak normally, as you would. So if you're someone who curses, you're allowed to do that, but you're not allowed to be a bigot or racist or overly misogynistic. She said that there's like a 3-strike system, and it's based upon your conduct and how you interact with the Whatnot employees, and also whether or not you're being truthful with selling. The other thing I thought was interesting was in the returns and like chargeback type thing. She said that Whatnot usually takes care of that, and they are more seller centered, is what she said. So they apparently, according to her, would usually side more with the seller unless you blatantly did something wrong. Like if you said the item was a size large and it was actually extra small, they may contact you and be like, hey, you know, you made a mistake here. But if it keeps happening, then you might get a strike for it. As far as like counterfeiting goes, they seem like they have a higher threshold of who they're willing to accept to sell things in those categories. Luxury, like she said, with the handbags, you will have to talk to a different manager about that, and I think they have more of a vetting system. They may ask you to authenticate things, have some sort of authentication paperwork when you sell those items. So I don't know about that. I haven't been to that meeting. I don't have those things to sell, so I don't really know about that. So if that is you, you will have to talk to somebody else about that. But if you keep misrepresenting your items, then they may give you a strike for that, and it seems like 3 strikes you're out. Is the selling fee 8% commission plus 2.9% transaction fee, and then 30 cents per transaction. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure exactly, but it's around 10%. It's around 10-ish%. So that's not bad. I sell primarily on Poshmark, and they are 20% is better. Now, I think I will make less per item still on Whatnot than I would if I waited for someone to buy it on Poshmark or eBay, unless they buy it from the Buy It Now. The thing I was thinking about doing is, if this works out well and I can make a name for myself and consistently do it and make money, that instead of the way that I have it now, where all of my stuff is taken photos of and put away in bins in my house, that's how I do it for Poshmark, and then I will list the item and it will sit there for as long as it sits there. Well, I've been thinking, if Whatnot works out well, then I'll try to start selling things on Whatnot first before I go through the trouble of putting it on the wall, worrying about the lighting, editing my pictures, putting it on the mannequin, writing out the whole listing, and then having it just sit for as long as it sits. If I could try to sell things on Whatnot first and avoid having to ever take those photos and do all the things you have to do for Poshmark and eBay and all those other places, I might be saving myself time and making very quick sales. Bringing it home, washing it, putting it on the live stream and then selling it. That would be amazing if you could do it that quickly, that fast, and it would be worth making less per item to sell the items more quickly. And you know, one thing I should have asked that I didn't ask was international shipping. Do they have international shipping? Because I know they have Canada. You can sell on Canada, I think, but do I ship to Canada? Something to look up. There was also some other resources that she gave us, the Creator Academy and some other things that there was videos and other information about. So I'm going to check that out to be sure that I know everything, and hopefully it'll go well. So so this is what I have everything set up to look like for my live auction. I have items that I'm going to be selling behind me, and I decided that I was going to, as I go along, I'm going to take it from the very back and then add new items that I have sitting right here to the line, kind of so people can see what's going to be coming up next. I'm going to sit here. I have this table here with the other items that I'm going to be selling. Next to me, I have a very large list. I think this was actually more necessary than I thought it was going to be, because I had originally intended to like say the item. So like, let's say I'm selling the item. I would say this is a brightly colored swirl tie-dye crop top, and this is from the brand Glidden, and is size large, 100% cotton. I'll show the front, show the back, mention any other details that are maybe something wrong with it. This one's in perfect condition, good pre-owned condition. I'm going to kind of make the disclaimer before I start anything that everything is probably pre-owned unless otherwise specified. I have a couple new with tag items, but normally everything is pre-owned. And then I will start the auction. I have my computer sitting next to me on like a bin, and I'm going to be playing music from my computer, because you're allowed to put music on. And then I'm going to also be controlling the live stream from the computer. Okay guys, this is a look at what my setup kind of looks like for Whatnot. Hey everybody, I just finished my first live stream and I have kind of a lot to go over. I ended up selling 27 items. All the items with the exception of one sold at my asking price, or like my start bid, which was $3. I'm not exactly mad about that. I am happy that I sold anything at all, and will hopefully get good reviews and can start having, you know, those go up and make people feel better about buying from me, that kind of thing. And hopefully these people are happy with their stuff and will come again. At first, for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I felt like I was getting nothing. Like the first 10 minutes especially, every item that was going up, like nobody was even commenting on it or anything like that. So I was starting to panic. I was starting to feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna sit here for an hour and nobody's gonna buy anything. I'm just gonna be talking to myself. But they were at the lowest possible bid price, which I kind of expected, to be quite honest with you. I expected things to go for the $3, which is why I picked out things that I would not be mad about losing for $3. Next, I had all my items up here, which I liked, and I think I do like that aspect of having like the next items up. But having to hold each item with your hands is kind of hard for me, at least. I'm not very strong. I don't, you know, this is actually kind of a lot of work for me to hold this up for a whole minute. So like, my arms are tired, and that probably says a lot about me. I don't care, but like I'm gonna have to find some sort of rack or something to like put each item, like that's like the next item up, you know, because holding it the whole time. And then the other thing was, like, once I got all the items off of these hangers, the next items that were sitting in the pile waiting, I had to like put each of them on the hanger. So I need to have all of the items on a hanger, on a rack or something, so that I just can quickly, because like it was taking me like 10 seconds every time to put it on the hanger, which is precious time I could be doing other things, you know. So like I think my stream was probably a little slow for that reason. I tried to like start the item and then tell people about it so that it wouldn't be like wasting people's time if nobody wanted it, which was the other thing. I set all my things for 1 minute, and sometimes it was a very long minute. When nobody wanted it, nobody was interested, it felt like a very long time to wait. So I might start my auctions at 30 seconds, because when someone does make a bid, it adds on 15 seconds. So if people are interested and they are like bidding back and forth, it will add the time itself. So I think maybe 30 seconds might be better. Yeah. So I've learned a lot from this first live stream. I've learned certain things. I wish people had spent more on each item. Like $3 is kind of low for me. I sell things much higher on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Depop, you know, the whole thing. But selling 27 items within an hour's time is nice. And I think the more followers you get, the more competition there will be for the items, therefore more people will spend more money. These people were getting things these people were getting a good deal for the $3 because nobody else wanted it, you know. But if there were more people there, it probably would have gone a little different. Again, if I had more of a social media following, which if you do, good for you, use that to your advantage on here if you're gonna do it. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to build both on Instagram and here on YouTube and on Whatnot itself, get good ratings, get more people to watch, do it more often, different times of the day so that different people will see you, that kind of thing. I did gain followers from this, so I was happy about that. Hopefully these people who are buyers will buy again, come back, get to know them. Maybe I can start getting to know what the Whatnot market is, because like the Poshmark market, the eBay market, the Mercari market, and the Depop market, although you can sell all the same stuff on there, they all have their own personality. And I know that those of you who sell on there know what I'm talking about. Poshmark is very different than Depop, and Depop is vastly, vastly different than eBay. Although I have had sales of all types of things on each one, you know, the personality of the person who buys on there is a little different sometimes. The school next door to me is having a fire drill or something. I don't know if you guys can hear that, so sorry about that if you can. So all in all, I'm happy that I sold some stuff. I was really worried, especially at the beginning, like, oh my god, I'm not going to sell anything. But I did, so I'm happy about that. Hopefully it all goes well. Hopefully the shipping experience is not too hard. I haven't even looked at how they have the labels. I'm hoping they, like, because, like, somebody bought, like, 10 things, so, like, I hope they have, like, a list of, like, all the things that were sold to that person. In the next, you know, like, I hope it's really easy to understand, or at least, like, the item has the name, like, you know, I'm hoping it's very easy. It should be. That's how they explained it to me. It's how it should be, so hopefully it will. I will show you guys if there's anything else with that. So I'm excited to start this. I hope to get more sales. I hope that with more followers that the prices of the items will get better. It's kind of hard for me to sell something for $3. And, you know, the commission is taken out of that. I'm making like $27 for sitting here this whole hour. I think the potential is great. If you could be making $5, $6, $10 per item, it would be a lot better. I think the more popular you are, the more willing people are to pay for things. Like, I see some people get good money for some ugly looking t-shirts, and I'm like, how? But they have a lot of followers, they have a social media presence, you know, that kind of thing. So something to be worked on. I think I'm going to start doing this once per week, start gaining a following, seeing how it goes, selling things that I'm not afraid to lose for $3. I wouldn't sell anything at all less than $3. I wouldn't do it. There's people who do, and I applaud you, but I can't do that. I will let you know what the shipping process looks like, and then this video might be done.